All right, it's on.
All right, here we go. Welcome.
Yep.
The weather brought us indoors. It's a warm day, but a little wet. Crew didn't want to be out on the deck, so
We got a
we're
huge
indoors.
crew too.
We're indoors today
Massive crew,
in
yeah.
the studio, and I want everybody to know it's hermetically sealed.
Yeah.
And the airflow has been upgraded to keep the
Yeah, we got a HEPA filter.
China
virus.
virus out of here.
We have a HEPA thing. So unfortunately, 2 straight weeks of some bad primetime games.
Yep.
Maybe it's time we stay at Sunday at 1 o'clock. I know it's fun to get all riled up and everybody gets all beard up and everything, but the bottom line is this football team, even since the Jim Kelly era, is not a primetime team for whatever reason.
We've had some success, but most of our memories, I think, are of disappointment. We'll forget the just give them the sidelines with Sunspot Babe, that nightmare, and we know the deer in the headlights when the Kelly era.
Just Give It To Him was a daytime game because I went
It was
to
a
see
Sunday.
Kiss that night. Yeah.
It's a Sunday afternoon, and
So I like to start on the trenches. Obviously, a really, really bad showing. I think one of the things that bothers me after the game, obviously watch him getting destroyed for 245 yards. One of the things that bothered me after the game is to go into the alignments and some of the packages that were used. And the Bills, tried to stop the great Pat Mahomes, which we could have had, but we just didn't think he was good enough. And then we couldn't. We stopped him for 21 of 26 for 230, so that's great. But more, what I want to say is we played a lot of nickel and dime to do that, and so basically they faced 5-man fronts, and they tore through it like a piece of paper. Now, if you flip it, okay, we had 4 wides a lot too, and they were playing a lot of dime. And we had 5-man, 6-man boxes. And what do? We got shoved back into our backfield by a team that was 29th in rushing yards allowed. Our offensive line was completely manhandled, and we're all going to get on Singletary now, but the guy had no chance half the time. He had 2.3 yard average for most of the first half against that ridiculously small front. And then we, on the other hand, they get us for like 7-8 yards of crack against the same front. So that's mano a mano, hat on hat, and guys just ain't winning the battles. We can argue all day about the scheme, but the bottom line is with 4 minutes to go, if we get a stop on third and 13 or whatever the hell it was, we get the ball and we're down 6. But a guy named Pringles Potato Chips, his first catch of the year,
37-yard play, but
wandered free.
70% on third down. It's just the efficiency for Kansas City isn't good, but
And it's not just Tom, and that's the problem, right? It's not just Kansas City.
right.
The Bills are giving up over 60% on third down. That is abysmal.
Now the deal to me, I thought we got manhandled on both sides of the ball.
Trenches.
And gimmicks to me don't win, and bend but don't break and all that stuff. The truth is that running game kept our offense off the field.
Yes, it did.
And
What do we have? 21, 22 minutes.
yeah,
It's like
and
Super Bowl 25.
it comes down to these games, and being in McDermott know this, and
Oh yeah.
they have a reasoning for what they were doing and covering up whatever, and we're early in our build with this team. But having said all of that, we're 4-2 or 4-1 going into the game, and I don't think gimmicks don't work. Players got to make plays.
Yep.
We didn't make enough plays in that game on either side of the ball to win it.
No.
Now people bring up the great Belichick in the Super Bowl 25, and they bring up the fact that he was going to let the Bills run and take our passing game away. Truth of the matter is,
Thurman,
with a field goal,
MVP.
wide right, and helicopter wash or whatever the reason may be, Thurman's your MVP, and he loses, he's probably a bozo.
Yeah.
So in that particular Super Bowl, the Giants, to their credit, made just a few more plays than we did. And you got to make more plays.
Mark Ingram, spinning away from 6 different guys.
Oh,
for
Everson
first down.
Walls on the shoestring tackle on
Walls
Thurman.
gets Thurman.
But
But to your point, you're exactly right. At the end of the day, these guys are paid and paid well. We have the most money in our defensive line in the entire NFL. It's time for Pigs to start playing. I know Oliver's got a banged up knee. Also, he's a one technique. That's a pass rusher. He's like 290.
well,
You gotta have some Pigs in there.
people also bemoaned the fact that Starla Toulier made so much money. He was an Panther, whatever it may be. Truth is, look how important he was,
Yeah, he's
and
huge.
he's out right now, and that puzzle piece is a big missing. But he's a
Link.
big man. He's a
Missing
big piece.
link. He looks like
Sometimes,
it, but
sometimes you don't show up on the stat sheet, but you do a lot for your other guys. And having said that, today's football, the linebackers are built more as inflated safeties. They're 6'3",
coverage guys,
225,
225, yeah.
When those guards, they're still 3-something, and they get out there. You don't want that. You want your D line to take that big bodies off and let your linebackers roam free, and that's not happening right now. And the Bills know that, and that's got to be fixed. But going back to the other thing, we would have been, we hold them to a punt there, and we get the ball, and we can go down and score. The bottom line is, Mahomes didn't pass because he didn't have to.
He didn't have to.
And
If
when
he
you-
does, he probably threw for 450.
Well, if you throw the football, bad things can happen. Now it's 2-2, but whatever. And if you're running and getting 6 yards of credit, why throw?
I wouldn't throw.
And if the Bills would have stopped their running game,
Yeah,
they would have thrown. And it's just a little too easy right now to throw against us. And
it is.
I would like to kind of see, and again, I'm no expert. I don't stay up all night and eat Chinese food in the basement at the stadium. But I'd like to see us be a little more aggressive with our corners and give that rush a chance to get at
He's
these.
a little racist, by the way. Chinese
True.
food.
Well, pizza then, whatever. But like, we're not getting close. Allen was getting up off the ground quite a bit.
Yeah, he was getting.
We weren't getting very close to Mahomes at all.
Yeah.
I know the play action had a lot to do with that and stuff, but we could give our defensive linemen an extra second or two by playing a little closer. Well, we don't want to get beat deep. Well, maybe we'll get deep, get it over with, get the ball back.
Get the ball back and score. I think that the safeties were. My quote that night was they were in another zip code. The quote by one of the Buffalo News writers, who are usually bozos, but I agree with this time, is that Poyer was playing in Hamburg.
Yeah, and then you could see the frustration too with the team with the stupid penalties on that drive, the late hits. It's just frustration. But the bottom line is they got to get that fixed. But I'd like to see him be more aggressive. On the other side of the ball, Josh had plays there he missed. He didn't
he
have
did.
his best night.
He did.
And just because teams are playing too deep or whatever doesn't mean you can't go deep. We did.
Yeah,
And there was guys.
Diggs, who usually makes that play, tough play, but can catch that ball like that. And then the touchdown he did caught was exceptional. He did catch. But I think the thing is you didn't even have to go deep. So many times, Josh, this week had guys on crossing patterns, sitting up in button hooks to extend drives, and he missed them. And
Yeah.
I think he got a little riled. They blitzed on some ridiculous, like 70% of the downs. They decided they were going to come after him strong and rile him, and then say that he'd make a mistake. And unfortunately, that's the way it came out. Not saying that okay, Josh Allen's a bum and now he's
No.
done. And no, it came out that day, and I think he realized it. He wasn't setting his feet. I think he was hearing the footsteps of the rush, and believe me, it was coming hard every down.
And I think the competitive bit in him too. He's going up against Mahomes. They've been compared, blah blah blah, and I think he was a little too fired up.
Yeah,
I
I would agree. The stage was too big, maybe.
Right, and but what they did is something I'd like to see us do more of. Get after that passer, and if Mahomes is accurate and all that stuff, great. Make him beat you that way instead of laying back.
Yeah, I don't like the laying back. I also don't like all-out normal blitzes on Mahomes because he'll kill you. What I see is you got to get creative. I haven't seen Leslie Frazier send a safety or a corner.
You got to dial up something.
You got to dial something different, and I didn't see anything. And I just think there's a couple ways to look at this. We kept talking about how we'll get this fixed, and while we're limited in the way we can get it fixed, let's face it. Suddenly there's not all pros going to be around sitting on waiver wires. Number one. Number two, though, I've seen this coaching staff actually get better with what they had via schemes and going back to basics. We saw it. I don't know if it was 2 years ago where teams put up 125 points and like 500 yards a week on us, and then the next 3 weeks we went 3-0.
Yeah.
Things can change. It's a different game every week, but you have to be. The coaching staff now has to be concerned enough to say, okay, need to do something.
Well, and we also came out of a string there playing. Tannehill was playing good football. Goff, the kid in L.A., Vegas, and of course Mahomes. You were getting a little bit of a break with the Jets, but in this league, there's a lot of good quarterbacks and stuff. But Bills made a couple moves with Brian Cox Jr. and Justin Zimmer, and released Quentin Spain.
Yeah,
And,
just now today.
from what our sources are saying, if we knew the real reason, the mafia would be curious, but that's a source. We'll leave that source.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for maybe some type of a deal. There might be a team out there that's struggling and might have a defensive tackle that can help us jam the run.
You got it.
The run.
Apparently, there's a guy in with the Giants that big run stuffer, and the Giants are going nowhere. And they're looking to pull out a 4th or 5th round pick for him. If the guy can stop the run, I say get him in here.
It might be the puzzle piece we need there
Might
right
be.
now. You know,
Because the other thing is that Tremaine Edmonds is not playing like Tremaine Edmonds. Not calling him a bust like everybody on Twitter. He's not playing like him. I watched some of the game over, and
did you watch film?
not film, but but I have watched the game over, and it seems he's picking the wrong holes.
Right.
That has nothing to do with a sore shoulder. He's going like that 13-yard touchdown on 4th and inches was abysmal. He dove right between the center and the guard. That play was never going there. I don't really know what's going on, but in any event, we need him back, and I think to get him back, you get a run stuffer in there or plays like a run stuffer, and you get Milano back, because then I think there's your puzzle pieces put together.
Well, the Bills' defense is based on getting pressure from their up front four, and they're not getting that right now. So anything that would help that out. And it seems like teams that get physical with us seem to give us a really hard time.
They do.
That was the case last year too. And,
Well, I think you called it. We got a lot of linemen on both sides that are smaller.
Right.
We went to the nimble linemen, and those nimble linemen, especially, well, both lines. I'm sorry, the trenches this week both got tossed around like rag dolls.
Yeah, and I'm like you. I don't blame the running backs as much as I do. There's a lot of contact behind the line of scrimmage and stuff. And,
Yes, there is.
But the bottom line, plays have to be made, and you got to get those plays and get the stuff working in your favor and keep moving the sticks. And we didn't do a good job of that Monday.
We got a few more things to say, so we'll wrap it up. I'm going to say Bills are 13.5-point favorites against the Jets. Not sure if Darnold's playing or not. I don't think it matters. I got the Bills by 9. I don't think we're going to cover.
Yeah, I don't know either. In any given week, you don't like playing those winless teams. And Flacco, if he's playing, he's got a cannon arm. I do know that if you're going to give any quarterback
That kind of time.
you're going to be in a...
He'll be Teron Johnson. I'm sorry, he will. Right. He'll also be Norman. You heard me say last week, Josh Norman is an awful man-for-man coverage guy. I mean, he basically looks like a high schooler out there. So they got to either play zone with him or get him the hell out of here and find somebody else. Again, very tough to do after week 6.
Right, and the Bills D Sunday, they got to make some plays. They did get us a fumble, and I think that was the only turnover, right? Just the one pushed fumble there, but it was late in the half. But whatever, we need more of that.
And we got to look at Bojorquez and the way he holds the football, because nobody has been able to see a good enough replay this week to see if the laces were in or out on that horrific 52-yard attempt at halftime. If the laces were out, that's just really bad. If they were again pointing at the kicker, then we need a holder, and I would say take our backup quarterback, start getting him ready, because this is pretty bad on the holds.
Yeah, he missed it pretty significantly, and we know from past experience those laces have been in, and there seems to be some confusion or conversation between the two on the sidelines and stuff. But punting-wise, he's turned his game around. He's doing a really nice job.
I mean, even Ace Ventura Pettit, laces out, Dan. Laces out.
You gotta have the laces out.
Okay. Okay, we're getting low here. Let's talk a little bit about the Sabres really quickly. Not much going on except 2 things. Number one, it looks like the 7 bum teams, including us, who didn't make the little round robin tournament here for the Stanley Cup, may get an extra 2 weeks of camp. I think we need all of it, so that's good.
I think it's huge. The team, that gives Ralph a chance to really get in there and know his people.
Yes, that's good. He's a social worker is what he is. And secondly, Patrick Kane, little unrest in Chicago. They're dumping salaries like crazy, and they've come out to their season ticket holders to try to be patient. We're rebuilding. It's funny though, isn't it? They're rebuilding after 3 Stanley Cups. We rebuild since World War II. But anyway,
they're trying to get younger and retool a little bit, and Kane and Taves are a little miffed, as older veterans will be. Like, hey, we could still make a run at that cup and stuff. So that's interesting. If that Kane's available and he wants to play here, I'd be willing to listen to any deal.
Yeah, first of all, they probably got to hold on to some salary. He's at $10.5 million, at least $2.5-3 million. We'd probably have to give up the guy that is going to get our money here. It's either Risto, it's maybe Sam, because he's going to get 5, 6, 7. you're going to have to swap some salary there. But I think he's got 3 years left on his deal, and that guy can still play hockey.
I write a lot about it in my book that I'll be releasing soon, Blind in a Sightless World.
Kind of the first funny thing today. I like it.
Yeah. It's,
Actually, it's not funny. It's actually rather disgusting. But anyway, so that was that. That's we got about 3 minutes, Tommy. If you would like to.
Well, we're getting closer, obviously, to the 13 days to the election, and people have been undoing Biden's tax plan, and now we see that it's going to affect a lot more people than he's letting people believe. And in fact, a good friend of the show, 50 Cent, came out and said he's going Trump because he doesn't want to be known as 20 Cent.
That's right. Basically that's what he said. He says, "Wait a minute, this MFer is going to take 68% of my wages over 400,000." Well, there you have it.
He said that. 50 Cent said, "I don't want to be known as 20 Cent."
I don't want to be 20 Cent. And then you got J-Lo and the Cuban, who came here and made billions in the capitalistic America, voting for Biden because they love him and they don't like what Trump says. Well, okay, that's great, J-Lo. Just run that round rump ass all over the stage, and the minute you hit 400,000, say goodbye to 70% of it.
By the way, people don't want to talk much about the Hunter Biden thing with the Chinese, but there's a great story out of the, is it the Sloan Gazette?
Sloan Gazette.
Where Biden is actually opened up 2 Chinese food restaurants, fast food restaurants. What does that tell you?
In Sloan, what does that tell you? It's ridiculous. And actually, it's slow food. Everybody's sitting there waiting. It sucks. But anyway, there's that. It looks like we're probably a little less than 2 weeks away from a potential Biden presidency. I pray to everybody and everybody's soul that the fact that you hated Trump and the way he spoke didn't glaze you over too much to put in a guy who will ultimately lead to socialism.
By the way, they're going to tax your retirement plans, you youngsters out there. Take a look at that. Look on the, I believe it's called the Hoover Report out of Stanford University. Your retirement system. My wife will never be able to retire.
Yeah.
And bottom line with this, the deal Biden's bringing up, he needs the Trump economy on steroids to make his plan go. And they don't have the money for everything. It's wonderful ideas, it's great, but they don't have the money, and it's going to stagnate a lot of business and growth.
In the interest of being diversified, there's one thing I saw about his plan about Social Security that I liked. If you guys know me, I've said you don't cut Social Security benefits for elderly people. You start charging more. Right now, you only pay Social Security when you work up to $137,000 a year. It's a lot of money, but a lot of people make more than that. Biden said we'll keep doing that, and we won't extend it past that until you get to 400,000. People over 400,000 are going to have to pay that 6.5% tax. Some of the think tanks on Wall Street have said that would delay another 5 to 7 years of the situation where more money is going out than going in. 2040. Not a bad start. Again, don't like the guy, not enough for me to vote for him. But I think we've got to do something with Social Security and stop pushing it and stop kicking the can down the road.
And also in true transparency and diversification, Joe Biden said that he likes chocolate shakes. I can't agree more.
I like strawberry myself, but they're getting a little expensive at McDonald's, and they're a smaller cup. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I did notice. By the way, I'll leave you guys with this, with better red than green.
Better red than dead?
Well, green.
Okay.
And I really don't like electric cars, and I'll tell you what, it will improve the extension cord industry, though, from what I'm
It will. A lot of places to plug in. By the way, got a $249 electric bill, so I think I'll stay with gasoline. Just to put that in perspective, my bill for natural gas is $61. In fact, I told the guy today at Direct Energy that I'll be calling the Public Service Commission because they're criminals.
It's burning up the planet, though, and like we said last week, we got some really good feedback on our bidet.
Yeah.
A lot of people
like the bidet as long as it's warm. Secondly, we're on the Great Rapids of the Niagara River. Should be the cheapest electricity in the entire world, and what do? We ship it to downstate New York. Yeah, New York, give us your electricity. Yeah, get a cup of coffee. Come on, give us electricity, coffee.
It's kind of like it's a little Bostonian. I want to bring up a real quick point. I mentioned this in the book. Ben Franklin, in the deal with England in the Revolutionary War Treaty, signed our free fishing rights in the Atlantic Ocean, and allowed us to fish there. That still benefit still holds true today in Canadian off the shore
What
of Canada.
the hell's that have to do with anything?
Just it's in my book. It'll be a lot more coming
All
out.
right, well, we got to get going because now you're getting obscure. All right, thanks everybody. Have a good life and good talking to you again.
Remember, go red.
What is